Hello, welcome to The World According to Liz. I'm Liz Presley, and my guest today is Hope Wilkerson. And she is very excited to be here. She's grinning very wide, which you can't see, but we're going to use our normal format where I ask three questions and she asks three questions, and we have a conversation. So I'm going to go first.
Okay.
Okay. Actually, you're my guest. Do you want to go first?
You go first.
Okay, thought so. So you have been at Carroll for I don't know how I think your parents have lived here the whole
My whole
time.
life, yeah.
So you've been here the whole lot your whole life. Okay, so you're a kindergrad.
Yes.
Oh
I
wow. Okay.
know.
Where did you go to kindergarten?
Old Union.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. And so I didn't even know where you lived. Okay. So being in Carroll, being a dragon your entire life. So mostly this focus on high school years, freshman through senior, but
Mhm.
because you've been here for so long, what as you've grown up and become an adult, what has been the most impactful moment that you've had in your high school career or even before since you've been here your whole life?
I feel like the biggest impact has been definitely in high school, like throughout cheerleading, like I did it all 4 years from freshman to senior year. And like in the beginning of my high school life, I guess, I was very unorganized, kind of scattered, super like spontaneous, but like in a good way, but also not a good way, you know? And I feel like cheer has made me more structured, and I guess I didn't really know who I was as a person. And when I tried out for co-captain my senior year and people like actually picked me, I think that was a huge realization for me that like people see me as a leader. Like, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
I didn't like know who I was, I guess, and I didn't know how to feel about who I was, but I guess seeing people put me into that light helped me grow as a person, realize like I can do things. I can be a leader. I can reach goals and pursue different things, you know?
Right. Right. So, well, okay. So let me ask you this follow up with that.
Okay.
Have you ever felt that you've been slighted because, oh, you're just a cheerleader?
Like in just regular.
In all aspects of life, in academic, oh, she's just a cheerleader, or
Yes.
in or even in the sports world or anything like that. I mean, you broke your foot this year.
I know. That was horrible. Oh my goodness. And we're doing the flag powder puff, whatever it's called.
Yeah,
And I was sprinting and now my ankle hurts. I'm like, oh no.
you're falling apart, girl.
Yes. Ugh.
So, but
Yes.
so you did feel slighted. You did feel like some people looked at you because when I was in high school, our cheerleaders weren't near as competitive as they are now, and I mean, I always took all the advanced classes and all of that. And even though I was pep club president and did all the announcements in the morning, because we didn't have a DGN or
Hmm.
anything like that, but I did, any assembly, I was the forefront because the students led the assemblies. They were run by student council, not by principals and all of that. So I was the MC of every assembly. And those types of things, those lead to leadership, but there weren't any cheerleaders or drill team. Now, I will say I've had to re-examine what athletes you are
Hmm.
because you are incredible athletes. You're devoted, you're all of that. So I was just curious if you ever got kind of slighted because it's like, oh, you're just a cheer.
Like in the like kind of sense of like, oh, you're not that smart.
Being that smart,
Yes, for
being
sure.
that you're a little bit
Yes,
ditzy,
for sure,
you know?
100%.
You can't see me at home, but I'm like, "Ah, la,
Yes.
la, 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 la,"
Oh, for
and those
sure.
who know me know exactly what I'm doing right now, but so, yeah, so and that makes that becoming a leader this year that much more impactful for you,
Yes,
I would
for
imagine.
sure. Because I feel like also my personality, I feel like I come off as like that, like la 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 la, you know,
Well, yeah, and you're petite,
and
so
just
you're
like,
not a force to be reckoned with,
and I
but in
lack in,
actuality but you are, you
and
know?
I lack in the common sense, but you know, so I very much fit that, you know, but yeah, I think a lot of people see cheerleaders in that way, and so I think it's great when there's like a lot of cheerleaders doing like different things or also having like parts and like different clubs and stuff and
Sure.
having extra or different extracurriculars and all that. And a
Hmm.
lot of people do cheerleading competitively too. And I did up until I didn't do it my junior and senior year, but like throughout my whole life I have.
Right, right. But you're in advanced classes. It's not like you're in
Yes.
calculus. You didn't slack off and take, the easy way out. You took chemistry, you took physics.
Yes.
So yeah, there's nothing to say. You didn't take an easy way out just that you could focus on cheer. Now, I
Yes.
am going to ask, are you going to cheer in college?
I'm not. No.
That's okay.
Yeah.
You don't have to cheer.
I
There are
think
things that are just special in high
yes,
school.
for sure. Definitely. And I think it'll just be a lot for me in college, you know.
Where are you going to school?
The University of Tennessee in Knoxville.
Oh, you are.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. You get to
Yes.
ask me a question now.
Okay. What are you most proud of and all the things that you've done in your life?
Obviously, Kate. I have one child. We know that you may or may not know, but I had lots of failures. And so to have that one live birth, in our family, she's known as Princess Kate.
Mm.
And so anything Princess Kate wanted, Princess Kate got.
Mhm.
But she's worked hard too. It's
Yes,
not
for
like
sure.
we all bend over backwards for
Yeah.
her. You know, um, just because I was so grateful for her didn't mean that I gave her everything.
Yes, for sure.
So, and of course, she's given me two beautiful grandsons I love to see them all the time. But that's not really anything I did. I
Yes.
procreated and had a child. Woohoo! A lot of people do that. But the second thing that I'm probably most proud of is this whole entity of Tutor Dragons.
For sure.
Um, so, I started this as a way to get experience to go become a teacher. And I don't think any of you could actually visualize me in a classroom in a
No.
public school,
No.
especially the way that I talk to you sometimes, which is very frankly of shut the F up.
But it makes the class better because we're so used to like the structuredness of how things should be.
Right.
And so it makes it that much better and almost like you understand concepts because of it. I know that sounds crazy, but that's how I feel at least. And I feel like a bunch of kids feel that way.
Well, and that's where this kind of I didn't realize that I had this relatable
Mhm.
attitude. I mean, I'm 62 years old. I'm supposed to be old. I'm the age of your grandparents. And yet I can still relate. And, I know y'all tease me when I try to act hip, and I'm anything but hip.
Me either. I don't know all the slangs nowadays.
But that doesn't mean that I still can't take something that you're trying to learn and put it in everyday life.
For sure.
So and every day those moments of pride come through when you get that text message from someone that says, "I got this on my SAT. I would never have been able to do this without you." Or "I got this grade on this test. I never would have been able to get this without you." And those moments are that's where the pride comes from. And to see
For
you
sure.
all happily come back to my classes to partake in, okay, what are we learning this week? What
Yes.
are we going to do now? What's the next event that's going to happen? Because and while I joke, years ago on Twitter somebody said they put out a tweet that said party at Liz's, and my college students that were on Twitter were texting me saying, "You're throwing parties now?"
They're like, we're on our way.
They were in Colorado, but they were
Oh
like,
my gosh.
WTF, why weren't we having
Yeah.
parties? And I was like, no, dude, that's class. We're having a physics class.
Yeah.
If you think that's a
It is
party.
I mean, it is a party though. And when it was at your house with the cops pulling up because of the cars
Ah!
in front of the whatever they're called.
The fire
Yes,
hydrants
the
and
fire hydrants.
blocking
Without a
driveways.
doubt. And there'd be a
Were you
knock
there
and
for
everybody-
that?
No, but you told me all about it and
Oh.
everybody. I feel like
Yeah.
I've lived it honestly.
There were
because of it.
46 there that night. It was
That's-
insane.
Ugh,
Yes.
they're the
yes.
best whenever the classes are full then too.
They are fun. They're more
So much
fun
fun.
because there's all this dynamic
Mhm.
going on. And now with Zoom, we don't have that near as much. And I miss it because I
Yeah.
miss the interaction with the students,
For sure.
coming in. But I realize these kids are really busy. And
Yeah.
so Zoom and video, I mean, there are students that I've never met because they only come on Zoom.
Mhm.
And I'll be asked their name. It's like, yeah, I remember that name, but I can't picture
Yeah,
their
because it's, like, on
face
a
because I
computer.
never saw them,
Yeah.
because they were always on Zoom,
Mhm. For sure.
or I'll go to the yoga studio. Liz! And I'm like, hi, I'm so and so. And
Hey.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, you've never met me, but I know what you look like. And you're just like, or go to the bank and that'll happen. And you're just like, okay, yeah,
Like,
hi.
you're literally a celebrity going
No.
yes, being noticed.
No, no, not at all. Not at all. Okay. All right. So did I answer your question?
Yes.
Okay, so here's my next question for you.
Okay.
You are going to Tennessee.
Yes.
What is the mascot there?
The dog. Why am I Smokey is his name.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Didn't know. All
Yep.
right. So you're going to Tennessee. What is, how do I phrase this? What tools have we given you here? And well, first tell me what you're going to major in and what most excites you about going to Tennessee. And then I want you to follow that up with what tools have we given you here, whether you learned them at Tutor of Dragons or whether you learned them through cheer or just through your own figure it out. What have you learned that's going to make you successful there?
Okay. So I'm majoring in nursing.
Outstanding.
I'm very excited about that. And I'm most excited about for the school. Like whenever I toured it, I just I just got that feeling, which sounds so like, like
No.
people, oh, you get that feeling, but like I seriously genuinely did. And our campus tour guides were just the most like peppy but in a real type of way people.
Sure.
And they made everything, all these stories and background about the campus. I mean, they're called the volunteers because they would volunteer everything they have to the school because they loved it that much. And I
Wow.
think that kind of like legacy that they have like just meant a lot to me to
Hmm.
see that like they care about their students. And also something exciting too is they're building a new nursing building that will be opened this year. It's opening
Oh,
this year.
so you get to be the first.
Yes. There was
The
also like all these signs kind of, that led to
pink
it being
neon
the right
signs,
choice.
hope belongs here, right
Yes,
here, right
that's
here.
honestly what it felt like.
Okay.
It was yeah.
Okay. All right. Good.
And throughout especially here, like not even cuz cheer is great and all, but for like, educational like
Hmm.
reasons. Um I feel like here I just learned that like when you think of like studying or like you have a test coming up, like you just think stress, oh my gosh, I have to study and all this. But whenever you come here, it's like you release that stress. You have a good time while you're studying. And I feel like especially for nursing when I'm going to have to study so much and go through so many years of school, keeping that with me that you can make study groups and make it more fun and stuff
Hmm.
like that. If you're going through it for that much time, you have to make it that way.
Right.
And I feel like that's what I've learned here that you have to have a little bit of fun. You don't have to be just strictly like all of this.
You don't have to be
And you
locked up
still
in your room.
yes, and
You
you
don't have to be.
like even there would be, I'm an early bird and sometimes the classes would be really late and I was like, I can't do Zoom because I won't be able to focus. I need to be in there with just in person
Which
because
is
it
why we
just
have them at 5:30 on
yes.
Mondays for you.
Yes, it's perfect. But I would still like I would drive down to your house because I just had to be in person because it was like it was fun to study and learn there with you and all the other kids and all the laughs and all the stories. And so I feel like I will definitely take that with me that like yes, it's going to be hard studying and all that, but you can make it doable.
Studying it can be a grind. No
Yes,
doubt
for
about
sure.
it. Okay? But like you said, if you have a study group
Mhm.
that you can work with, and I went to 7 different colleges and universities before I finally graduated because we moved 6 times in 9 years. It was a lot. Um,
Yes.
but everywhere that we were, I always found friends or people, hey, I kind of connect with you in class. Do you want to study later? Do you want to, create this? And that was the best way. It was always those classes where we
Mhm.
could when we'd have study groups, we could say one word tell me everything you know that relates to that one word. Like when we did embryology,
Mhm.
and I could say notochord, and everybody would be, okay, we know this, and this, and this. And those types of banter helped you in the
For
repetition
sure.
helped you remember, okay, so when I got to that embryology class and he's like, give me an essay on the notochord. And we all looked up and looked at each other like, how did you know? And I was like,
Yes.
I didn't know. But we all had very similar essays because we'd just gone over that.
Yes,
And so that's going to be something that is very impactful.
for
So
sure.
that would be my advice for you is to make sure you make those connections. Now, are you going to
Yes.
rush?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Yay.
I know, I'm so excited.
Rushing was one of my biggest regrets.
What?
Hmm.
Oh no.
No, because I didn't.
Okay.
And it was a financial
Yeah, for
thing.
sure.
Um,
A lot.
I had enough. Well, I was given enough money to go to school. I had enough
Mhm.
scholarship money and work type things to pay for school, but there was no extra money to even like our campus didn't. The cafeteria was closed on Sunday, and so I had money for groceries, but like to go out to eat Taco Bell, I
Mhm.
couldn't even afford that on that Sunday. And like I had to write my dad, Dad, I need money,
Yeah.
Uh this is I need a t-shirt for this and I don't
Mhm.
have the $5 for it.
Yeah.
So he agreed to send a little bit of money to me once a month. But I mean, I was completely on my own financially and the cost of sorority was going to be
Yeah.
way
It's a
too
lot.
much. Um so my first semester I got, I practically flunked out because it was like, whoa, beer? Wait, what? Huh?
What's going on?
We can drink Wednesday? Monday? What? And so and there were other things that went on at the university
Yes.
because I was a girl at a university where there were way too many guys
Mhm.
and therefore you could be preyed upon.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that those things don't happen now,
Mhm.
but in 1980 it happened a lot more often and things were swept under the rug.
Yeah.
You didn't have a place to go to report it.
Mhm.
So you just didn't go to class because you didn't want to face that abuser.
Mhm.
And so there was a class I flunked out of because I
Oh,
just
I'm
didn't go
sorry.
back. Oh, no, it was a life lesson. So it tanked my GPA so I couldn't
Oh,
rush.
no.
And then I met Craig, my daughter's father, and it was like, "Oh, I love you. Oh, I love you." Well, if you're going to rush, I'm not going to stay dating you. Don't ever choose a man over your girlfriend. That's
Yeah,
my biggest advice.
for sure.
And that should have been my first clue that this was going to not last forever.
Yeah.
And in fact, I'm still friends with the girlfriends and not friends with him.
Well,
But I got my daughter, so we're
yeah.
good,
Yeah.
So there it is. All right. So what's your next question for me?
What keeps you motivated to keep teaching? Because I know you teach 24/7 before our school even starts and up until like 11:30 or probably even later because you have to write up all the stuff that you do teach.
Sometimes, yes. So yeah, like today I had a student before you, but I didn't have to get up before school this morning. So I did get to go to yoga. Yay. Um, but what keeps me motivated is when you guys actually have that light bulb moment where either you're in class and you go, "Wait, what? Wait, that that's how you do that?
Completely accurate. That is 100% what we say.
I never understood that before. Oh my gosh." That moment, and then I'm up in front giggling because it's like you can literally see the flash of light in the room because that person's light bulb went off in their head. And it's so wonderful when that happens. It just happened this week in a test where I was trying to explain um, polyatomic inequalities. And I was like, you do this way and you do this and this. And he's like, what? And everybody started laughing because it was so amazing to this person because it finally
Yes.
connected the dots. And you can see that. And even in a class of 30 or 46, where I'm having to say, settle down,
Mhm.
be quiet. when that moment hits and they go, "Oh my gosh," that those priceless moments are what keep you going.
For sure.
And, the whole goal of this is to build something that is not necessarily just focused on me, but focused on this is a place of learning. Yes, school is learning, but sometimes school is, let's face it, we're walking like apes, dragging our knuckles, going, oh, I
Mhm.
don't want to go. I don't. And you're dragging yourself there. I want this to be a place where people enjoy coming and have fun and learn through fun. And I tell all my parents in that first phone call, I will scream at your kids like they're my own. I will call them out. There will be shame if they act out,
Yes.
and so and they're like, good,
Yeah.
because I think our teachers in the public education don't get to do that.
Mm-mm. And especially like when like you're saying when the kids do have that aha moment, that would never happen in a classroom. Like when the teacher's teaching, they would never be like, "Oh my gosh, that's so like I just now wow, like that's how you do that." And so it just shows like the environment that you've created to have that security, to have that full openness as a
But
teenager,
I
to
don't
be able to
understand why they don't have that. I had those moments in school, and even we all joke about Coach Fisher, and I always had the biggest crush on Coach Fisher. But even in his chemistry class, I still had those aha moments. Wait,
Mhm.
the period, all this is on the periodic table? You mean you're giving me a cheat sheet and I get to have this on every test? I just need to know how to read this. And he's like, yes. Oh, okay. And of course, everybody
Yes.
laughed at me because
Mhm.
I was loud even then, and probably even louder if you can imagine. But I want that comfort level. I want that encouraging where no, hey, wait a second, look at this. And nothing upsets me more in class when pss, 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 somebody whispers to someone else. I'm like, if you're asking a question of your neighbor, ask that question out loud.
Yeah, because
There's
somebody
no
else probably
shame.
has it too.
Right, exactly. There's no shame in asking a question because if I didn't explain it for you to understand, then you didn't understand. Someone else didn't understand
Yes.
it as well.
Yes.
The only thing that irks me the most, though, is when they're on their
Yeah.
phones and then they go, "Oh, wait, what was that?" I'm like,
I
"Uh-uh,
know.
I'm not going back for you,"
For sure.
because I'm trying to teach in 30 minutes or an hour what you learned in a week or 2 weeks in class.
Yeah.
So they are fast paced.
Yes.
So when those light bulb moments happen, either in class or one on one, that's what spurs me on. I'll show the text to my husband or I'll send it to my mom, those types of things. Or for a long time, I didn't advertise on Facebook because, well, it was in my dining room. And my dining room only holds 23 students. And
It's my
even
favorite
then,
place in the world. Oh my gosh.
now it has dining room furniture in it. If you can
Really?
imagine, I know. Um,
Oh, that's kind of sad. Why does that make me want to cry? I just need those little plastic seats to be there with the plastic tables.
yeah, well, they're in the room
Oh, I
here.
know.
So, but anyway, I didn't want to broadcast it because I couldn't grow that much more.
Mhm.
And so when I did start posting on Facebook, hey, physics is tough. That first lesson's difficult. I'm going to do this. And people would respond, oh, you got to use Liz. Oh, you got to use Liz. Because, like I said, you never want to be, some of my competitors are always out there waving their hands. Pick me, pick
Yeah.
me. I'm here. I'm here. And it's like, I don't want to play that game. They'll find me. I will let others recommend me. But
Yes.
some of the things that people said about me were so humbling, so sweet, so genuine. And so I'm pasting them and sending them to my mom and saying, look what people are saying about me. And my mom's just like, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of you. So, sharing that joy of what everybody feels because it feels good to know stuff. Not
Yes.
just to not just to ingest it, regurgitate it. Oh, I got 100 on the test, but to actually feel like you understood it and know
Mhm.
it.
For sure.
That's the
And to
passion.
feel smart, to feel like you can do it
That's
is the
it.
biggest like aha moment for all these kids who are struggling
That's
completely.
so there it is. That's what spurs me on. That's why I show up every day and pour my heart into this. Much to the chagrin, my dogs miss me so
I
much.
know. They're
They
so
miss
cute.
me.
I wish they could just like roam around here in this building.
We brought them, and Pi Pi was so scared to be her.
Oh,
Her tail was tucked under, and she looked around in every room like, I don't know where to
too
go.
many
I don't
rooms.
want to do. I
Even
don't
me, I
want to be
still
here.
can't find the bathroom. It's a square building, and I always was like wrong way. No, wrong way. It's a square building, guys. Like it's bad. Like
No, so Pi Pi's just
so I'm like Pi Pi.
terrified to be here. And Chaos just is so excited to be anywhere.
Aw.
But then there's slobber all over the walls, and
Yeah.
I'm like, maybe the dogs here isn't a good idea.
And they have to transport them, and then
Well, and that's why we got the dragon wagon, was to transport them. But even then, they're terrified,
Yeah.
and like I said, it's just not worth the trauma to them because
Yeah.
they're 6 now.
Aw.
So yeah, but maybe there'll be new dogs soon
Yeah.
that can come
Yeah.
and be here. But I have to also worry about a backyard at the building
Oh yeah.
because they have to be able to go outside and relieve themselves.
In your
So,
garden and everything.
yeah.
They're still doing that?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, good.
In fact, somebody even came today to buy more plants.
Aw.
So yeah, Rob said something and it was like, Rob, I still sold 1,000 plants this year. You did? I'm like, yeah. It wasn't
Well, you're just so
2,000.
busy.
I
So
know,
crazy.
but
you do it all. You do it all.
no,
Yes,
no,
you do it all.
I don't keep my house clean.
Oh, that does not matter. House clean or changing lives. And you change lives.
It's such a choice. Thank you, sweetie. Okay, so my last question to you is, what advice, if you could go back and be a middle schooler? Okay, we won't go to elementary school, but a middle schooler or an entering freshman, a fish, because you're going to be a freshman now at Tennessee. But if you could go back and be a dragon freshman, what advice do you wish that your self now could have given yourself back then?
I wish that I'd give myself credit for the good things that I did. Like I never really I mean I would make a good grade, but I would be like, okay, I made a good grade. Like I wouldn't be like, oh wow, like you understood that, like that was great, or you get all your homework done on time, that's great. Like I just didn't see anything in myself, and I didn't know who I was, and I really didn't see myself as smart or anything. And I feel like that not knowing who I was and like just being in that place of like I don't know what to do with my life. I don't know anything. And I know that that's a lot for a freshman.
Okay, time out. Why would you feel that you didn't know or you didn't give yourself that knowledge? Is it part of the persona of, oh, does it go back to, oh, you're just a cheerleader? Or why wouldn't you think that you're smart?
I think I just didn't have any self confidence at all. And like my freshman year, I was just a very like sad person. And I don't know why. Maybe it's just because like so many new things that overwhelmed me. Like I didn't feel overwhelmed, but I just felt like sad and like unknowing of myself and like what I'm supposed to be and what I'm supposed to do. Like
Okay.
just barely like surviving through school and everything, even though it's just freshman year. But
Do we not tell our freshmen that it's okay that you don't know what you're doing or where you're going? You don't have to have your life planned out. I've had 5 different careers, and it wasn't until my early 40s that I landed here, and I fell in love with it.
mhm,
And so I will probably do this forever. But at in my middle school years, I wanted to be an oceanographer. In my high school years, I didn't know what I wanted to be pretty much. And then I was told I should be an engineer because I was so good at math and science. And actually in 79, my senior year, Russia invaded Afghanistan, and I was going to go be, because I'm very community oriented.
mhm.
So I was going to go be an Air Force nurse and go help out in Afghanistan because with my knowledge of biology and science, I
Yes.
figured nursing would be a good way to go. And my dad was all about that because the military would pay for my education.
Yeah.
Because there's no money
Like a
for my
bonus.
education. But, but, as it turned out, I ended up going to an engineering school, and I also hated it. That's
Yeah.
also probably why beer was so enticing to me, because I hated what engineers did at the university that I went to. And what I should have done is majored in civil engineering, which is more architecture and creativity based. But most of the civil engineers where I went to school became concrete people, roadways and that type of stuff. And it was like, oh, I don't want to do that. There's too much concrete. I want to go back to 1880s, not go forward.
Yes,
So it was a very difficult transition for me. But it's okay for you not to know where you're going.
for sure. Yeah.
Even now, you're embarking on this next thing. You're going to go be a freshman again, right?
Yes.
And it's going to be intimidating. Don't let it intimidate you. You are hope. Hell, your whole name says it. You are everything embodiment of that generation. You are our hope, okay? So go do that. Go be that. And if you decide to change gears, who gives a crap?
Yeah.
You're allowed to do that. You're allowed to maneuver and all of that. So this is my blessing to you, my dear. Don't worry about if you don't know, because trust me, Einstein didn't know when he came up with the theory of relativity.
Hmm.
There are days I wake up, I don't even know what day it is. What am I
Me
doing
neither.
today? Let alone the next 10 years or whatever. So it's okay for you not to know. Okay? I'm sorry that your freshman year was that rough. But what good advice for you to give yourself when you go be a freshman again?
Yes, for sure. A whole new start to school all over again. Oh goodness.
I didn't mean to scare
No,
you,
no, no,
but
no, no.
but keep those words. So
Yes, no,
so when
that's
you get
very,
there to Tennessee, you can listen to this
and I can remember.
and you can remember.
Yes,
Okay, I got this.
yes.
All right. What's your last question for me?
Okay. If you weren't a tutor, what other, well, we're just talking about careers. What other career would you want to pursue?
Well, I got into tutoring because I wanted to be a teacher. So I would probably be it. I always seemed to be the one that people would come to and ask, how do I do this? What do I do here? How do I now, unless it's IT, and then I'm asking someone else. But how do I manage this? And even in high school, how do I solve this problem? How do I do this? Or in college, it was, hey, let's do a group together, a study group. So I was always involved in some aspect of education or teaching or management or that type of thing. But I before I fell into tutoring, one of the things that I had thought long about doing was being in pharmaceutical sales because it blended all of my biology knowledge and that type of thing with being able to help others by getting new markets on. Now, in light of what's happened in the last few years with opioid pharmaceutical sales
Hmm.
and then you see some movies regarding some other pharmaceutical sales. I think the universe kind of put me where I was supposed to be.
For sure. And you get to be like, I feel like you get to use all of your like knowledge and resources. Like you get to help people in their prime of needing help. Like our teenage years or when we need help and when we are most affected by the people that we're surrounded by. And you get to use your knowledge of all these different, like, oh my goodness, all these different courses and all these different tests. And then there's AP kids or all the different subjects, and you teach all of them. And not only teach them, you help people completely understand them, all types of teenagers, to
Thank you.
feel understood and to feel like they're smart in their prime of needing to feel that.
You are smart. You're all smart in different ways. Now, and that's what's people will say, well, why don't you tutor this? It's like, because I stay in my lane. I so I know one of the things that I've always said is I speak math and science. So that does put me in a unique position
Mhm.
because how many like certain teachers try to teach you science as it relates to math and you're like,
What's going on? Like, I gotta call Liz, like,
This is not making any sense. Yeah. Any particle motion in math just doesn't relate to what you already learned in physics.
Mhm.
So, yes, I speak both languages, but I don't speak history. I don't speak language arts. And I sure as heck don't speak a foreign language. So,
I did ASL, so
good girl. Good girl.
I was like, yeah, I'm, slow learner in that
Actually, I
class
think
too.
you'll probably use more ASL as a nurse than you will as Spanish.
Oh, that's true. I didn't think about that.
I mean, you might, with hearing impaired, and depending on where you go, you may actually end up using that more than you might, especially
Yeah.
French. And somebody told me yesterday they were taking Latin. I was like, "You're doing what?"
Oh,
You,
wow.
I said,
There's so many different things now.
are you majoring in
Yeah.
in medical terms? Is that why you're taking Latin? And it's like, no. I was like,
I
okay,
feel like everybody just picks one, just based
apparently,
off of what they want to. Yeah.
apparently, yeah. So, but you I just want you to know that you can do whatever. You've got this,
Thank
okay?
you.
You've got this, and wherever we end up is at that moment you have to realize the universe has put me here, whether it's supposed to be for good or whether it's supposed to be for whatever. So, but yes, I do speak both languages, and I try to cross over so that when you talk about this one class, I'll bring up in chemistry what you learned in biology just to kind of dust it off
Hmm.
because those neural networks are still there.
Yes, or you're gonna need this later, so let's practice doing this.
Right, right. Or, and in fact, my algebra kids last night were even like, why do you keep talking about algebra 2? Like, well, where do you think you're going to end
Yeah.
up? You know,
You'll
I'm
thank me later.
I'm trying to lay this foundation for you so that when you get older in that class, you go, oh, I remember why Liz was teaching me this.
And it feels good to be in that new class and have a little bit of knowledge. Like, oh, I already know this little part
Yes,
for sure.
exactly. And that's the whole purpose of what we do here. So, but eventually I'm hoping I'm not teaching all those subjects.
Oh yeah.
It's that we're bringing in, other tutors to help layer so that maybe in 7 years, 10 years, I'll still be tutoring, but not, as you said, before school, during school,
Oh,
after school, till 11:30 at night. You know,
I
yeah,
don't understand how you do it.
it
Goodness. I can't imagine. And all the different like kids and personalities, and you just go great with all of them. Truly.
Well, thank you. There's some days I might disagree with you, but
But that's what makes us human. That's what makes it fun. Like if you weren't like, come on, Hope, we just went over that, making me like feel that like different type of in the study mode, like I'm like suddenly out of it. I'm like, oh wait, this is funny, like this is fun. And if
right.
anything, when I'm taking the test, I'm gonna remember those moments where I did something crazily wrong and we're just laughing together about it, like just and it has that versus just studying and looking at a paper. You're not gonna remember that.
No,
You're
that's
gonna remember what you're laughing about or what some kid was like, "Oh my gosh, what? You did that?" Like that's what you're gonna remember.
good. 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 Do you have anything else to ask me?
Um, I think you answered like the kind of part two. Like
Okay.
as a current tutor, where do you see yourself in like 5 years?
Ah, yes. Well, we just purchased a property.
What?
It's still in Southlake, but there's property next to it that's not for sale yet, but we're hoping to acquire that as well.
Oh wow, that would
And
be awesome.
so I'll still be tutoring. I
Okay,
will I will never stop tutoring. I just hope not to tutor
everything.
65 hours a week, 70 hours a
Yeah.
week nonstop. But now still be doing classes. I will always tutor physics. I will always tutor, you know, calculus.
So are those two your favorite? What would you
Probably
say is your most favorite?
on level physics by far is my
Really?
most favorite. Yeah. Because I get to be as wild as I want to be. I mean, I get to be a solid liquid and a gas.
Yeah.
I like tutoring chemistry, but we have brought on a new chemistry tutor for next year. I don't know if she'll do the on level or if she'll just do the advanced in AP, but I mean, definitely on level physics is my favorite. Um, and advanced algebra 2 and both my calculus classes and probably pre-cal too. I like all three of my pre-cal classes. So the upper maths and on level physics, I'll probably keep those. And you don't know, I mean, who knows? I can't. No one can predict the future.
Yeah,
Okay, but I can't keep up this pace.
for sure.
Plus, my grandchildren are growing older. My second grandson, I'm not present for him near as much as my older one. And my older one, it's okay because I was there so much for him when he was younger that he still knows that how much I love him. But
Yes.
the younger one, I mean, he'll be like, I want to go see Healy.
Mm.
Why can't we go see Healy? And he doesn't understand. And of course, he's not autistic like the first one is. So I think the autism affects some of his memory or all of that,
Yes.
where Jonas is more on level, or not on level, but neurotypical, as they would
Yes.
say.
Yes.
And so he realizes it's been a long time since we've seen her. We need
Now
to
I want
see
to
her.
see her.
Right. I want to go spend the night at her house. And he calls it his bed. I'm going to sleep in my bed.
Oh.
Well, no, honey, this is your bed at your house. No, that's my bed. I want to sleep in my bed at Neely's. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Super cute. Of course, he doesn't sleep. He'll do everything not to go
Yeah.
sleep. But we have done that. So we'll probably be building a house, a barn, and maybe even getting goats eventually. So we'll see. We'll see. We don't
That's
know.
awesome.
But it makes that, transition over to the garden. How do you manage all that time? And at some point I do have to sleep.
Yes, for sure. And it's you need that and you deserve that. You have to have that for yourself. And I feel like you don't ever have that free time and you need to.
But understand too, you guys make me happy.
Yes, but
You make me very happy.
you're just like superwoman. Oh my goodness. No, Liz, you truly are.
No, no.
You
No.
are.
Shh.
Yes. You work from like 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. guys every day.
No, not
And
every day.
and somehow you keep up with all of our lives too. Like, oh, how did that cheer competition go? Oh, anybody, everybody. You know everybody what they're going through, what they need, how to pick them up, and that's more than tutoring,
Thank you.
of course.
Thank
But
you.
truly, I'm not just saying that. You are superwoman.
No.
Yes.
No.
And you
no.
need to be like you need to have that free time and see your grandkids and have that farm and garden and all
I
that.
made it to yoga this morning, and I did get my fingernails dirty. I I did a
All
little
you
bit
can
of
ask
weeding
for.
for about 30 minutes. It was like, I'm going out to the garden. And Rob said, that's a good thing. So then, yeah. But, well, thank you for coming and chatting with me.
Thank you for having me.
The world according to Liz with hope today.
Aw.
So live up to your name, bring hope to everything. So, and I wish you good luck in Tennessee.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
I'm
No
still
problem.
gonna be texting you and asking for Zoom calls when I'm stuck on everything.
I'm
You're
she's
not
just
getting rid of me
complaining.
yet, Liz.
She's just saying you work so many hours, but I'm going to be calling
But-
you, so I'll
yeah.
be first on your list next year.
I'll come back and we can garden and we can, whatever.
Do you think you'll come back and live here when you graduate?
I don't know. Maybe.
I mean, some students do.
I don't like being far from home though. Like that's the scariest thing for me going away.
Now, are your sisters close?
Yes. They're doing online college because they originally were majoring in marketing, but they switched to nursing, so they kind of had to. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So
So I'm leaving everybody.
it's not that far.
Mm,
I promise.
I'm such a homebody.
You can do this.
I know.
You can do this. Well, again, thank you for listening.
Thank you.
And be sure and subscribe to The World According to Liz.